still have to learn how to play up my eyes.
Good morning, everybody, and happy hump day. It's your girl, C-Wit. I am at WLTH in downtown Gary with not one, but two of my amazing clients, the one and only Dr. Janet Seabrook and the one and only Joslyn Kelly of Jay's Breakfast Club. Dr. Janet Seabrook, CEO of Community Health Net. You know her, you love her. It's time for her show, 4th Wednesday of every month on WLTH, and she has invited into the room Joslyn to talk about the healthy options on their menu, as well as the plans coming down the pike for Jay's Breakfast Club, which means great news for the city of Gary. So I just ask you to tune in, listen, chime in, and just show your love. Here they are, these two beautiful ladies. Y'all say good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Get down.
You got it?
Have questions about your health? Well, the doctor is in. Join Community Health Net CEO and all-around health expert, Dr. Janet Seabrook. Don't be shy. Call in and ask your questions. Dr. Seabrook wants to help because your health matters.
All right, and good morning, WLTH-AM 1370, 92.7 FM. I'm always excited when the 4th Wednesday of the month rolls around, and sometimes it's the 5th Wednesday if I tend to forget, but I get the opportunity to talk with a phenomenal doctor and individual. She's a great lady, and I really enjoy our conversations, and she's here, Community Health, your health matters, and she gives us some wonderful, wonderful tips, and sometimes we get spanked a little bit about being naughty, but it's all good, it's all good. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Janet Seabrook, remind our listeners that the views expressed by the hosts and callers of this show are not necessarily views of WLTH Radio Management, owner, and sponsors. And today she has a beautiful young lady with her as well, who you can just pick the business brain of this young lady, but she'll tell you about her a little bit later on, and we'll have some conversation. So with that, I'm going to open up the microphones and say good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I like the way you do this in unison.
So,
how you ladies doing?
Doing pretty well, I have a special guest. I'm just so excited. I'm always excited, but a little bit more today than usual. I have Joslyn Kelly of Jay's Breakfast Club. I mean, come on.
Fried green tomatoes.
Club.
Whoa!
Yes.
Woo! She's got an out-of-sight menu out there, but I love fried green tomatoes.
There are so many things going on, good things, positive things that are going on with Jay. And I just want her to talk a little bit about the healthy menu options at Jay's Breakfast Club. You can talk a little bit about some of the other menu options, but let's focus on the healthy options. And then you can tell us about the big things that are going on for the future for Jay's Breakfast Club. So without further ado, come on, Joslyn.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the invite. It feels great to get away. First and foremost, Dr. Seabrook, she's talking about excitement. Anytime I get to share any space with her, it is truly an honor. You talking about a shero? This one right here is truly a shero. So thank you for everything that you do and all the inspiration that you give. On a side note, Dr. Seabrook, I'm so excited. I am down, I think it's 29 pounds.
Yes, I've been following you. Yes, I'm so excited for you.
So we have to keep that in mind that, you know, some people say, well, I can't come to Jay's. Yes, you can. So if I can do it and I'm in there every day, you can do it too. So let's start off with that. So when we opened at the location where we are now at 3669 Broadway, we started what we called, it was on a Saturdays with small businesses, and we focused on small businesses coming in. And then we kind of rotated around to another outreach, which is Senior Monday. And Dr. Seabrook is our health expert on site, and so one of the main things that she did when she came in, she said, let's look at this menu. And for the last 3 years, we've had a featured portion of our menu inspired by Dr. Seabrook. Yay! And that menu includes, of course, an egg white omelet.
My favorite.
With a side cup of fresh fruit.
Yes.
And some people in the room have adapted it to the on-the-go egg white omelet and get it in a cup. So you don't have to necessarily get it in a container. You can actually get it in a cup so you can drive and eat it and be on the go. Then we also have the breakfast stir fry, which basically is brown rice with a mixture of fresh vegetables, sauteed with a little seasoning, not salt, but seasoning.
Yummy.
And it's topped also with egg whites. And then our salads, I dibble and dabble because we're a breakfast restaurant. And we've experienced people saying, well, my salad was this and my salad was that. But our forte is breakfast. But we're trying to meet the masses where they are and, you know, give the people what they want. So we've been playing in the salad game. And so, you know, bringing out some fresh vegetables and some other folks who inspired us as well. My husband has started a garden at the house.
Yay!
So in the garden, we've got fresh dill, we've got cilantro, we've got cucumbers, we've got tomatoes, we've got collard greens, we've got squash, we've got cucumbers, and a couple other things that didn't come up this year, but I'm sure they're gonna come next year, like our green onions and our Brussels sprouts and just a bunch of stuff. Oh, I forgot, I've even got what is it? It's called sweet lettuce. It's the
butter lettuce.
The butter lettuce.
Yes.
Yes.
I love those.
You gotta use them so quick.
You do.
Yeah.
You really do.
But yeah, so some of those things we've been able to transition over to the restaurant. It's a family affair. So my dad, both of my parents absolutely love to cook. But my dad, I engage him as well. So he has this squash dish that he does that people have now put in demand. So this past Sunday, it was our featured dish. But again, all things out the garden. So peppers, the red peppers, the yellow peppers, the squash, the zucchini. We cheated on the onions, but they were still fresh onions.
Okay.
And so he makes that as one of our special meals on Sunday for our veggie of the day. So you can get that in the rotation every now and again. So just excited that we have the opportunity, to have some, what they call it, from farm to table.
Yes. Some
selections. And then we've got some great healthy selections. And then most importantly, if you are on a weight loss journey or a more healthy living journey, we have so many options that you can pick and choose that fits that particular journey. And thanks to you for allowing us your wisdom and helping us to impart that to our customers. So we have something for everybody. You know, we got to indulge in comfort food every now and again, right, Miss Natalie, with the fried green tomatoes?
You know, and that's understandable, and I respect that. But then, like you said, the biggest thing is options and having choices.
Yes.
Because I want to support you, and I can do that better if I can have the same thing that I would cook for myself at home.
Absolutely.
Those healthy options, you know. So I'm there. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to support because there are things on the menu that I can enjoy as well.
The last thing I forgot to mention were the smoothies. And then another good friend of mine, Smart Smoothie. So she's been giving us a little tidbits on different ways that we can maximize the smoothie and different options. So she's one of the people who drops off her protein and say, I'm gonna need you to add this into my shake. And we actually have protein that's available. I'm not the biggest proponent of protein because I haven't found one that I like. So it's there, and if people want it, it's available to them. So, I mean, we have it from the gamut, full gamut.
You know, I think one of the things that just makes me, you know, want to support you even more is the fact that you're so flexible and adaptable, and you understand your community and the needs of your community. You know that there are people that we have a high rate of diabetes and hypertension in our community, and you recognize that. So you've made some accommodations to be able to, you know, reduce the amount of sodium, to watch the sugar that is in the foods and things like that, and to lean more toward those things that are sweet already. So I just appreciate all of the things that you're doing as yes, that's your livelihood, you and your husband's livelihood, but you're also taking into account, you know, those things that will keep us healthy, you know.
Absolutely.
And everybody likes a soul food restaurant, but if you can do soul food,
options,
you know, healthy options, vegetables.
Veggie burger.
Yeah,
well, not
yeah.
so much. The demand wasn't so great for that.
Oh,
turkey
Turkey
have the
burger.
turkey burger.
I love that turkey burger.
Yes.
Yes, I love
And
it.
you know what? And I have to admit, I don't eat fowl, so I don't eat turkey or chicken.
Mhm.
But I tell people all the time, I will sell the out of it. And the demand for the turkey burgers is so incredible. I'm like, I just got turkey. They're like, we need another case. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things, and I attribute this to my education as well as life experience, it's important to listen to people.
Oh, yes.
And you know that in the medical field as well. And every business owner, successful business owner, is a problem solver. So you have to be in tune to the people that you're serving. I remember growing up and they used to talk, open the church and the people will come. That's not true. I can say things that are good, but more importantly is what I do and how you feel that keeps you coming back. And that's something that is important to me because I firmly believe in treating other people how you want to be treated. And so with me, that's the pretense of the business. That's the pretense of how I attempt to treat my employees. That's how I treat my customers. That's how I treat my vendors. It's important because I can't expect to be respected if I don't respect those. And that's important. If you're coming looking for a particular thing and I say, no, you need to have it this way, then I've kind of defiled what I aim to do, and that is serve the community.
That is so wonderful. So you have some more news for us. So come on, spill it. Spill the tea.
Well, in May, we made our formal announcement that we are in the process of building our very own location. So it has been a project that has had its ups and downs and backs and forth. And so we actually began work with a new architect recently that kind of slowed our progress down. But what did they say? Delay does not mean denied.
Mm-hmm.
God has truly shown yesterday and today. So we not only are moving forward with the building of Jay's Breakfast Club, but we have a bigger project which will have more information coming forth in the next 6 months to a year. But I'll just tell you this, it's similar to a phoenix, and the phoenix rises from the sand, from the dust.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore we look to build up Midtown, and Midtown Phoenix, just keep it on your mind and keep it in your prayers. But our objective is not just to be here, do business here, but inspire positivity through love. I'm following behind you. I'm trying to change the forefront of GI. You know, people always want to say what we're not, but my goal is to be like you and show them what we are, and that is resilient.
Yes.
That is visionaries. That is smart, incredible, capable, ingenuous. If not us, then who? And if not now, then when?
So we have to set the path.
Yes.
You know,
Blaze
we have
the
to
trail.
blaze the trail, and leave a little bit of work behind so others can follow.
Absolutely, absolutely, and pull them forward and uplift those who come before us.
Exactly.
I'm just excited. I got chills being next to you. This is my shero. Y'all don't understand this.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. Since you brought it up, let's talk about the importance of mentorship. And you and I, we're in a shared organization.
Yes.
The Women in Business. So let's talk a little bit about that and mentorship and making sure that we're doing positive things out in the community, so we can, have other people that will, call us or send us an email or a text and ask for a little bit of guidance.
Under I believe it was the vision of Gene Ishman. We are part of this phenomenal organization called the Diverse Women in Business of Northwest Indiana. Phenomenal organization. They have pulled together women throughout Northwest Indiana, not just African American women. We've got Indian women, we've got Latino women, women who are walking this path, but are not necessarily seen by the masses. And man, you talking about power and energy and information and resources, camaraderie, support. I can't stop. Since the whole COVID outbreak, the pandemic, it's even gone further. We still encouraging folks through the virtual. You were actually a featured guest on the last virtual networking session. It's about, you know, how do we get through this? How do we build upon each other? How are we still standing while other people have laid down? Exactly. And encouraging others, you know what, this is the time. This is our time. You know, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are succumbing to the unfortunate pandemic.
Yes.
But right now is for us to take our health seriously.
Oh, yes.
Do you have your vitamin D? Are you taking your multivitamins? What's your vitamin C? Are you drinking your water? Are you doing your exercising? All of that combats this pandemic. Am I right?
Oh,
now I'm
yeah.
out of my lane,
No.
and I'm throwing it back to you.
You know what? We can share this lane, okay? We can share this lane. And you said exercise, and for different people that means different things.
Absolutely.
And so when I say exercise, I mean it's whatever you can do that helps you to break a sweat
and raise your heart rate.
Right. If that's walking, if that's swimming, if that is a cardio workout, you know, then go for it. But just, you know, don't limit yourself and say, well, I can't exercise, I have bad knees or what have you, or, you know, I have bone spurs. You know, don't limit yourself, because there's so many things that you can do. I talk to patients all the time about, there's a PBS show that comes on where it says sit and be fit. And so there are things that you can do while sitting. And we're doing a lot of sitting now because of COVID-19 and the pandemic, that you can do in your home without having to get out if you're worried about, you know, going into a public space or anything like that. But you know, there are safe places that you can go. Travis Garza, they're doing the social distancing. Everybody is wearing masks. The place is sanitized. They have the floors marked, the spots where you can stand at to do your workout, and they're also working out outside. They've had outdoor workouts as well, so that's even better. And so while the weather is holding out, you know, I think we should try and get out as much as possible, and just be out and get some fresh air, some sunshine. That's pure vitamin D, and really, you know, look at ways to be healthy.
And I'm gonna give a shout out too as well to Vitamin T X Fat As AZZ. And they're doing some extraordinary things. Of course, Chelsea, who you with, Whittington, C-Wit. Y'all, if you're a friend of her on social media, you see she's in everything.
I mean,
everything.
I mean, from what, 5 o'clock in the morning?
I think she doesn't sleep.
And it's like, oh, activity number 6,
right?
Activity number 7. It's like, girl, go sit
8 a day,
down.
8 a day, and then I'm gonna go see a client.
I know, right?
But as evidence, she's taking her vitamins. You know, she's eating right. But the whole thing of it is that there's so many options. Not only vitamin T, Tiffany, shouts out to Tiffany Blakemore and her wonderful transition and what she's doing to inspire people. But we also have Robin.
Yes.
Bernal.
Yes, Robin Bernal. She's got her whole video ministry is what I want to call it. It is. I mean, just walk around the block. And while you're walking around the block, grab a garbage bag and pick up trash. So you're knocking out 2 things at one time. You know, I say to people all the time, the outside reflects how we feel on the inside. And that's one, I've been through a lot in my life, but I can tell you today, I probably feel the best. I probably look better than I've looked in a long time. And the outside is starting to mimic the inside. And that comes from faith. That comes from belief in myself. I applied for a grant. Yesterday, and one of the questions was, what is your biggest obstacle as a business owner? And my response was reprogramming myself from corporate America. Corporate America basically gave me an opportunity to work and to earn an income, but it also gave me put me in a box. So I was only as good as they allowed me to be. I only could make as much money as they allowed me to. I was only capable of doing what they allowed me to. And so I had to reprogram myself in this entrepreneurial scope that I'm as good as I believe I am. I can be as wealthy as I believe I am qualified to be. And it also goes to my customers. I have to know my value. So therefore, when they come to me, I can't allow you to reduce my value. Because if I know that I'm worth it, then you can't take it from me. And that hopefully replicates in their lives, so that when they come in front of someone, they also know their value and their expectations are raised. Great expectations.
Say that word. It sounds like we have a phone call.
Yes, you do.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi, good morning.
I'm looking forward to the new restaurant.
Yay!
Just wanted to ask you, doctor, I'm finding it very hard to find vitamins that do not have vitamin K. I'm on a blood thinner, and the only one that I'm familiar with is KFRE, K-Free Daily. And can't find any, and that's what I'm looking for. So maybe you can help me out. I'll hang up and listen.
So the question from the caller was, are there any vitamin supplements that do not have vitamin K? Unfortunately, if you purchase a multivitamin, it's just what it is. It has all of the vitamin supplements that you would need, including K. And the only way to get around that would be to sit down and speak with your physician about those supplements that you may need, that you may be deficient in. Then you would purchase the individual, like B12 or B6 or vitamin D or vitamin E, depending on the medications that you're on. Because if you're eating right, you don't necessarily need to take multivitamin supplements if you're eating right, because you'll get those in your system through your proper diet and drinking adequate water. So it's difficult, and truly, I don't know of any multivitamin supplement that excludes vitamin K for people who are on blood thinners. You would have to specifically go and target certain vitamins, individual vitamins, like vitamin A or vitamin C or vitamin E, vitamin D, depending on having a conversation with your physician as to those supplements that you need to take that your body may be deficient in.
Talk about our foundation.
So yeah, let's do that. But I also, you know what? I have a question about the restaurant.
Yes.
How big is it gonna be? How many people will it be able to sit? Will there be outdoor dining? I'm just, come on, girl, tell me something.
Well, as I said, we had to go through a transition period. Unfortunately, we had to switch our architects. But the cool thing about it is, if it's cool, is we are designing post-COVID. So I'm so excited. So like, for instance, and this may excite you, I'm gonna see your reaction. This was a huge discussion yesterday. I'm big on a public hand washing sink, so you don't necessarily have to go into the bathroom. And so we're talking about our installation of a public hand washing sink coming into the vestibule of the restaurant.
Where you at?
She's so cute. She's about to choke on that one.
She's like, what?
So that's something huge that post-COVID, you know, especially coming into the restaurant, you don't necessarily have to go into the bathroom. So wash your hands before you even come get in.
That is excellent.
So I'm excited about that. So one thing that people have asked for, again, being ear to the people, we will have a full bar. So stop it. So we'll have the breakfast, adult beverages. As far as outdoor seating, yes.
Yeah,
We have,
okay.
and then we have the potential of outdoor roof seating.
See, I might have to buy me my own table with my name on it.
The Seabrook section.
We have, of course, one of the biggest things that since we started on Grant Street is a private room. So folks will have an opportunity to have meetings. There's a private room.
I'm loving this.
Of course, you know, my whole thing of it is when you walk into Jay's Breakfast Club, you're walking into an extension of your home. So when you walk into your home, the first room you see when you walk into somebody's house is what?
The living room.
The living room. So we're maintaining our living room.
Yay.
So
Fireplace.
Yes.
That's what exciting.
Got our fireplace and our piano. So if anybody out there wants to donate a grand piano, I would gladly accept it. Oh, okay, fine. Hey, ask not, want not.
That's right.
Let's see. What else?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the foundation.
Okay, cool. So many of you know my story. Unfortunately, December 4th, 2014, my only son was serving active duty in the U.S. Army in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and he committed suicide. His last words to me were, "Mom, I love you, but I'm done living." And it did something to my spirit and my soul in regards to how I choose to live. And my goal is to inspire people not only to love to live, but we all know we go through challenges. But as we go through challenges, tie a knot and live to love. And so with the foundation, the Love for Jalen Foundation, the objective is to inspire people, encourage people to keep going. We have a focus on youth, especially Black males, because they have so much pressure. Right now, we're looking at case after case. I woke up this morning, the gentleman in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and then they were talking about something else happening in Lafayette, Louisiana, and the stories go on and on and on. Just last week, actually last week, I was sitting in my parents' driveway, and I was talking to my graphic designer, and a bunch of gunshots rang out. Quiet neighborhood, we've never had any problem. I grew up living in this neighborhood, but then all of these gunshots rang out, and I didn't know where to duck or anything because that's not my reality. And then 2 weeks before that, I lost my father-in-law to gun violence. He was shot, and so the common denominator in every story that I just told you was a Black man. And so my whole objective, again, goes back to how we look on the outside is how we feel on the inside. So what is that we can do, I can do personally to change the trajectory to create value? We have to value ourselves. We value ourselves, we value our lives, then we value each other. And that's our foundation.
Well, thank you so much. That is so inspirational. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us and giving us information, the backstory about why you started the foundation. That's so inspiring to so many people. We really do need to reach out to our Black males in the community. They are hurting, they're suffering. I'm on the Gary Commission for the Social Status of Black Males, and we, when we could, have face-to-face visits. Last year we held several at the table talks. I mean, 50, 60 men, teenagers, young men, and some older men there in the room just pouring their hearts out in the groups that they were in. Black men are suffering not only in our community but throughout, all over. So it's inspiring. Your story is very inspiring, and your foundation talks. It speaks to so many people that feel like they're alone and that no one really cares about them or understands what's happening. And we do care. We do care. It's just that we have so much going on in the community. Sometimes it's just hard to focus on one thing because we have so many things going on. So let's talk a little bit about
before you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I got that takeover spirit sometimes.
No, me
okay.
too. Me too.
We're
on the same page.
But so similar to what you were talking about last year for Jalen's birthday, actually, we did the movie When They See Us.
Yes.
We did a panel discussion, and just a quick recap. When They See Us was about the Central Park 5.
Yes.
And we actually discovered at that time that we had a Gary, Northwest Indiana 2. So there were 2 individuals who were charged for murder. They were getting off work at the steel mill in Gary, and there was a murder in Hammond, and they had been arrested. And then they served, and because of some law that came out, they were exonerated. But they came and were part of the discussion. And exactly what you just described about the one-on-one sessions, it was dynamic because we didn't have a huge gathering. We had probably about 15 men and about 5 or 6 women in the room. But the discussion was so heavy and targeted that it's a call, it's a need, it's a call. And actually it goes back to everything that we talked about with the exception of mental. We talked about food. Food affects us, exercise affects us, the air affects us, but mental is so huge, and our mental wellness is so important. I believe that there should be a therapist assigned, just like you get a social security number.
Yes. Speak. Yes.
Because, honey, we all got issues.
And sometimes it's just a matter of saying it out loud to somebody who is, neutral and not judgmental. And sometimes once you get it out, that's all you needed to do was just get it out.
And the thing of it is that it's such a stigma in our community. A therapist or talking about it is equated to being crazy. I hate the word crazy. I don't know who invented it, the stigma that's attached to it, it's like that box, like corporate America. It's telling me my abilities, what I'm limited to, my capabilities, what I'm limited to. Don't put me in a box when it comes to my mind, or anything else for that matter.
And you know, Natalie and I have had this conversation throughout the years, in how Community Health Net has really worked very hard to integrate behavioral health into the primary medical visit. So we have clinical psychologists, mental health counselors, we have social workers, substance abuse therapists, and counselors. And so you can go in to see your doctor or nurse practitioner, but within that visit, you're also going to be evaluated by our clinical team. And if they see or sense any signs that you need to, you know, have deeper
that's
visits,
everybody.
you know, then they will do those brief intervention visits during that primary medical visit.
I love it.
And so we have, you know, been able to get in front of women that have depression during pregnancy. We're getting in front of postpartum depression because we're having those conversations before. We're getting in front of suicide or potential suicide by talking, by having those conversations by doing those screenings before there are any signs that are outward and screaming at people. We're finding out before they even actively know within themselves that this is something they consider thinking about. And so it's really been a blessing to be able to fully integrate, and we've been doing it since 2015.
Nice.
And so now even more so doing, and I got to share this little story with you. We had received funding last year to set up for telehealth, behavioral health. So we got that grant, we bought the big monitors, you know, we set everything up, got our network together, made sure we had the security and everything. And as we were getting ready to start the pilot with just behavioral health, so those patients could call in and have those telehealth visits, because those are the #1 patients that have transportation issues. And so we said, we'll start doing telehealth with them. And so then we had the pandemic. So now we have to go telehealth with everybody. And because because our behavioral health team had already been trained and they were like ready and on point, it went so smoothly that they were able to actually literally the behavioral health patients, they love it. We've had a decrease in the no-show rate because they can request a telehealth visit when they know that they can't make that face-to-face visit. And we've also, because the behavioral health team was so on point, we had physicians who had some reticence about going to telehealth. They were literally able to, come on, let me help you, let me show you how it's done.
That's why you're my she-rock.
So it's just been a wonderful thing. So I just had to, you know, make sure that everyone was aware that Community Health Net also has behavioral health services and is fully integrated into the primary medical visit.
So that's the note I wrote down, telehealth, because I remember when we went to DC and you were trying to, and we were having that conversation with Congressman Joslyn, and I was like, I want to go see my doctor, I want to go into the office. But as you think about the people in the community that are struggling, that at any given moment, even in a 24-hour period, that they have a system, or eventually I'm hoping it'll get to where you just touch a button here in a screen, you can go to a screen and actually get help at that moment, you know, because you have that one-on-one with someone as opposed to talking to them on the phone, and they can read more into what's going on. So I think it's a huge asset, and I think it's something, even with what we're going through with the pandemic, as you think about it, there are a lot of people that are depressed and don't know that they are depressed. So that is one of the things that it is a good thing. So even beyond or however level that we come back up to, I'm hoping that that's something that they'll push more, just as we think about just helping the people who are downtrodden, or even with the poverty levels that are going on as well.
So I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I want to transition into the conversation that you and I had earlier about vision care and Community Health Net. So I would like for you, if you don't mind, to share your experience that you had with Dr. Kamyati and the services, the vision services at Community Health Net.
Well, the one thing that I like about Community Health Net is that they're very proactive about calling individuals to ask them or to tell them that they're, conducting certain types of programs. And as a part of the diabetes screening that you're doing, that's one of the things that you should do is always get your vision checked. Okay, and even though I have other issues and I do have a doctor that takes care of me, it was still okay for me to, I'm saying I'm going to be part of this study. And so Dr. K, who had been on the station before, and I had a lovely, wonderful time with her, they called and said, would you like an appointment? And I said, sure, I'll go see her. But it was more than I expected. And she is such a warm human being. She wants all of her patients to be very comfortable. She comes and you come in and she's already joking and getting you in the mood as to what you can expect. And her thing, she has a level where she treats you as if you have to know and understand everything that she's telling you. Now, I don't know, somewhere along the line, maybe my own specialty doctor, eye doctor, may have said some of the things that she said to me, but I didn't get them the way I got them when she explained them to me using examples. Everything she does, she teaches you with an example, and she shows whether she's going to draw you a picture to show you something or whether she's going to have a conversation and give you an example. And it's interactive. She's not telling you. She's going to ask you questions and say, do you know how certain things happen, or do you understand this? And so you do have to respond to her. But her bedside manner is perfect, because when I walked away from there, I walked away knowing more about, understanding more about what I was going through and the vision problems that I was having, and maybe even some of the questions. But as she thorough, I mean, the whole exam from the time you get there until the time you walk out the door, it was actually professional, very professional, and I enjoyed it to the point where I told her, I'll be back. She said, I have to see you for a year. I said, yeah, but I think I want to see you again if I'm confused.
Dr. Kamyati's background is education. That's why she was so thorough and engaging, not just with you, but all of the patients. And it's so ironic that our first vision clinic was actually started at the high school first, and then we transitioned to having services at the Martin Luther King location. So you can see Dr. Kamyati at either the Calumet High School location at 3900 Calhoun Street, door R, or you can see Dr. K at the Martin Luther King office, 3503 Martin Luther King Drive. But her spirit and engagement with patients, I watched it myself, and the same thing that you described is true. That's just Dr. K. That's how she is, and she wants to make sure. And you've seen her here before you even had the visit. You saw her in the studio, and that's just the type of person that she is. She's very fun, very loving, caring individual, but she wants to make sure the patients understand how serious or what's going on with their eyes, so they can understand how it can affect the rest of their health as well. And I like how she's able to tie that in. And she's never worked at a clinic before that wasn't just a freestanding vision clinic. This is the first time where she's been integrated into a medical office. So the offices that she's in, with 2 family medicine nurse practitioners, one at Calumet and one at MLK, they're able to have this collaborative relationship, and she's saying, hey, I can take care of your diabetic patient's vision care. Let me take a look. Let's see if we have to send them to the ophthalmologist. Let's see what's going on with their glaucoma. So she's able to be that intermediary and help guide them through their vision care. She's a licensed Indiana optometrist. She's able to do all of the things that you would have done in any optometrist office. We're so excited because, of course, the high schoolers, they want contact lenses. So we got our first batch of trial contact lenses. So Community Health Net is now able to prescribe contact lenses. And hopefully before year end, we'll be able to also start doing eyeglasses. So we'll do optical as well. She can write the prescriptions, but we've had to send people to other places to get the glasses made. And so we're looking to partner with the lab right now that will have the frames. People will be able to pick out their frames, and then we'll be able to send them to the lab to get their glasses made, and they can come back for their fitting just like you would at any optometrist's office. So we're taking slow baby steps, but the first thing was getting her in there to start taking care of our chronic disease patients with hypertension and with diabetes. And now we're stepping it up, going to contacts, and then we'll step it up and we'll do glasses next.
Well, she actually gave me my script, which is good, because I went through the weekend where I don't know how my glasses was hanging sideways and I couldn't see. And had I had a script, I could have gotten a pair of glasses, but I literally had to wait 3 weeks to get my glasses made, and it was all over.
Oh my God,
it was horrible. And it's like, so now I have that script, and I'm going to order extra, because if you have the script and order online, it's much cheaper.
Yes.
And you can get multiple pair, and you can get some sort of the fancy ones as well. So I thought that was a good one.
We want to talk about that.
So, but yeah, she's a real asset. And the one thing that you have to emphasize about what Community Health Net does is that they have the screenings where you have to have a panel. We got to discover what's with the high blood pressure. We're going to study in terms of diabetes, and where I missed the conversations where they did have the group sessions.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that that's going to come around again, because I really want to be a part. But it's a tracking mechanism where you not only know about your experiences, but you hear about others in terms of taking care of yourself.
So those diabetic group visits that you're referring to, we've switched over to telehealth for those group visits. But our face-to-face visits that we had in January, and I believe we had one in February, and I did a cooking demo. We had nursing students and a professor from IU doing the diabetic education, and we had staff there. At that time, we were able to use our transportation bus and pick the patients up and bring them to the group visits. We had to curtail that because of the pandemic, but we recently started doing those virtual group sessions, and they've been quite successful.
Well, me and virtual, you can have some accidents with virtual, and think about what you're wearing or where you are.
That's why I remain fully dressed at all times. Zoom.
But it's like you're in your own home, you're in your own world, and it's like I'm talking on the phone. When you do that on the phone, you forget. Okay, so you're doing anything while you're on the phone, and then it's like you get so comfortable, you're on the Zoom, and then the next thing took off, and it's like, uh-oh.
I'm on candy camera.
That's right. You guys don't see.
You got a new career going on.
But there are a couple things that I need to go back to the conversation, because the one thing that I think about Gary, Indiana, and you ladies both mentioned it, that you don't like to put out and always the criticism. But in this room today, there was a whole lot of upbuilding. When we talk about how we have this label on us, and they say, well, black people are going to get this first, and they're going to have this first. With the two of you ladies sitting here and the collaborations that go on in this room, you made sure, or you're making sure, that there's no excuse that you don't know about your diet, that you don't know, that you can't have these excuses. You're going to eliminate that part of it because of the fact that you guys are thinking a step further as to how to eliminate a lot of the things that are holding people back. Doc, you with in terms of the systems that you have, the 5 different centers. Now I'm talking about 6. I'm sorry. You're talking about your diet, and that's what you're putting out there in the restaurant. And then we have Chelsea here, who's doing the coordinating. But the one thing about it, it's a collaboration, and we have to really realize that, because that's a great thing to eradicating a lot of the poverty that we have in the community, because you're taking away that, oh, I didn't know that, because you're providing the answers and the opportunities. So that was my takeaway as I listened to you all talk. It was phenomenal. I got the goosebumps just like you did. But you're breaking out of this, because there is no excuse. There's a center where you can go, that they go according to your income. So we have to wake up, and people have to wake up and stop using the excuses. I'm overweight because
like
you want to be.
Natalie. Do like this. Make a fist. Can you get anything in that fist?
No.
Open your hand. You get everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to learn how to be open.
Absolutely. Open-minded. Hey, that's on you read my
my bad. See that takeover spirit.
But it has been really, really wonderful. And as we see more of that growing and the cohesiveness that comes from that, then one of the words we can eliminate a lot of the buts and the excuses. Just as I said, this was priceless. It is priceless when you think about it.
So thank you so much for that. I just wanted to say a few other things. One of the things that as we talked, we mentioned several other small businesses and companies that we are aware of. And what I find is that these relationships are actually helping to strengthen and uplift many people. And I'm just so glad to be a part of the various small business organizations, African American women in business, just different organizations, the diverse women in business, Northwest Indiana, just to be a part and having that, camaraderie, having colleagues, having people that you can have conversations with that literally understand, they get it, as you say. And I believe that that support of each other is something that is going to be built upon as we try to continue to build up and uplift the city of Gary. But that's just my personal opinion.
And personally, I feel the same way. I think we're getting a lot of lessons from this COVID because we were just everything was staggered. It was stagnant. Things were not moving forward. We were not doing the things, and we were not paying attention. And we were really not paying attention to each other, which is biblical, what we're supposed to be doing. So I do believe we will get back to that level here. But look what's going to burst up, the phoenix that will rise, as you said, up out of this pandemic because of the fact that, something had to slow us down and make us pay attention to what we were supposed to be doing.
I definitely agree with that. I believe that there's more cohesiveness because people have had the opportunity, as you said, to kind of sit down and look at their surroundings and imagine what the future could potentially look like if we all could figure out how to network and get along with each other and do the things that need to be done. Take the I out of it, take the individual out of it, and if we work collectively, even though, Jay's Breakfast Club is doing what Jay's Breakfast Club needs to do, is doing it in the context of this growth will actually help the city of Gary.
So, and we have to stop hating on one another and celebrate each other. And that's the biggest part about that. We don't celebrate
by celebrating somebody else.
About to do
my shine doesn't. I can't diminish my shine by acknowledging your beauty. Because I'm still beautiful. You're still beautiful.
And what God has for you, that's for you. And that's what we have to learn in terms of figuring out what our purpose is and how we can connect.
And you know what, Natalie? We don't even have to figure out our purpose. Let me tell you something. I've learned in these 46 years of living, things don't just happen, they happen justly. Scripture says, His will shall be done. Now, there are many days and many times, and I can tell you all the stories and show you all the bruises that I tried to force my will. And God made Himself known. It is not about you, baby. Jay's Breakfast Club is not about Jay. The things that I do, the things that I have, the things that I've been able to accomplish have little to do with me, but it's for the kingdom. And when we look at it holistically, things don't just happen. The pandemic just didn't happen. Unfortunately, 45 being office just didn't happen. All these things are to get our attention for Him to have His way. So when we focus and reverberate on a higher level, then we don't have to worry about finding our purpose. Because guess what? Our purpose shall find us.
So I would be remiss if I didn't help James with his job because he gave me this pretty colorful flyer to let us know that the breast cancer fight is still out there and that we have to continue. Okay, and that is going to happen on September the 26th.
Yes. So let me talk a little bit about that. So on Saturday, September 26th, you can support Community Health Net and our efforts to make sure that women and men who have breast cancer can get diagnosed early and be taken care of. We're having our walk. We're still going to have our walk. So you will be able to participate virtually or in person. Cool. And we're just looking forward to it. It's, of course, it's the pandemic. Things have to be done differently. We're still going to have a walk. We're going to be out there. We're going to social distance. We're going to have our masks on, and we're going to have a good time. And for those who are still not comfortable or not able, you can still donate, and you can participate online. We'll be Facebook Live, and you can also, do your Facebook Live and show us what you're doing while you're at home, or either walking in your neighborhood or walking on the track, wherever you are. Show us what you're doing. So we're looking forward to that. So Saturday, September 26th, 9 a.m. registration. You can also go online right now. Go to our website, Community Health Network. CHN-Indiana.org. Go to our website, CHN-Indiana.org. And there's information there and all the paperwork that you can complete to participate. You can also sponsor walkers. It's $25 this year, right, James?
Correct.
Virtual and in person.
Correct.
All right. So we're real excited. If you come in person, we have some goodie bags and giveaways, just like we always do. So I'm real excited. This is, our new reality as far as still trying to provide healthy activities and to also raise funds for breast cancer awareness.
Say, James, are we doing the parade? The fashion show?
Yes, we will have the best dressed team and individual contest.
Because we already got it in the bag. That's why she didn't have to mention it.
She got a couple of ringers and Jasmine and Jade.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right now, I hear a setup. That's what I hear.
Right.
She already claimed last year. I got Jasmine and Jade on my team.
The fix is in. But Saturday, September 26th, registration at 9. The walk is going to start at 10. Join us virtually if you can, or in person.
All right. Well, we want to thank you so much for you ladies and for everyone stopping by. I just had such a wonderful time. Group hug.
Yes,
let everybody know group hug.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you so much, and looking forward to continuing, looking forward to your business venture continuing, and looking forward to continuing to work with community health. Your health does matter. It really matters. And thank you, Dr. Seabrook, for taking the time out to be here today, as always, and had a great time. And we will look forward to seeing you next month. And with that, I'm going to turn everyone back over to automation coming up in just about a little over an hour. Jeffrey Smith with the afternoon news. Everyone, please continue to be safe. Stay safe out there. Mask up, sanitize, and make sure that you take good care of yourself.
Great show, ladies. I'm still live. I just want to go on camera to say, look at my amazing clients. Some of the comments we were talking about, how you all were uplifting other women. And I just wanted you all to know what people are saying about you and the impact that you are having in the community. It's my honor, pleasure, and privilege to work with both of you. I kind of got teared up as I listened to all of your testimony, and this is what I need to help me to keep going. And so anybody who's watching this, if you want motivation, it's right here in this lens. Look right ahead, what I'm seeing, and know that these women are committed. They're dedicated to our community, and I thank you. Thank you, Dr. Seabrook. Thank you, Joslyn. We'll see you next time.
You wrote that?
Totally.
You're talented.
Bye, girl.